Hi everybody, my name's Paul Murphy and I've got a passion for hats. Today I've had a couple of hats turn up that I bought online and they're from Lock&Co, so one of my favourite manufacturers of hats. Just wanted to share with you the sort of condition they came in. They are hats that I haven't paid a lot of money for because I wanted to restore them and see if I can do them justice. They came actually squashed one on top of the other and actually compacted with an elastic band around them in a plastic bag, basically. So these two hats are, one's a greeny brown and one's a brown, but inside you probably can see that on this one the inner label's gone, but we've still got the branding on the sweatbands, but it's very worn and quite discoloured through wear and use and body fluids and so on. So it's really going to have to go into the hat room and have a real good steam and clean this one. And likewise with this beige coloured one, discoloration of the actual label and lots of staining on the inside. So well-used hats. In fact, I don't know whether they've still got the, let's have a look. Oh gosh, this has still got the label in it of the original hat. So I haven't even looked at this yet. So let's have a look and see what it says. 7/1/8. It's looking as though it's a 1983 hat. Yeah, and I wonder about the other one. Let's have a quick look there. So, yeah, this one's also got the label inside. So that's great provenance, and that's a 1983 hat. So I suspect that these came from the same owner, and it's something that he's had since 1983. So well worn. What's that? 83, 93, 103, 40 odd years of wear. Wow. Okay. We're going to do our best to bring these back and to a condition that somebody else can get another 40 years worth of wear out of them. So I'll take it through to the hat room and let's see what we can do. So I've brought my two hats through and I'm going to have a go at tackling this one first of all, I think. So what I'm going to do is I think probably put a bit of steam on it first of all, just to whack the crown out of it, and then I can get off all of the imperfections and have a look at the inside. So let's see if we can do that. So that I can put it on the hat stand here and stretch it out. Now, this hat size is supposed to be a 57, which is exactly the same as the hat block that I've got here. And it's proving difficult to push down. So I should imagine that this hat has actually shrunk a little bit. Most hats will shrink because they've been out in the rain and then they've dried next to heat and all that sort of thing. So, okay, so we're not really doing too well here at the moment. So let's pop that out like that. So now I've just popped the top out of the crown and I'm going to get some tape and see if we can actually get this fluff off of the hat. So loads of tape and wind it around your hand. There we go. Then we're going to start patting the hat. So this is where some of you may have done this at home before, but you're actually just getting off all the excess dirt and fluff and what have you before you can start. Really, I like to do this and then get a brush to it and give it a good old brush. But we've got lots coming up here. I mean, I don't think you can see it, but look at all that. It's really taking all the sticky off with it as well. So I'll put some more tape. Then we're going to do the underside and the inside with it. So there we go. Let's do this on the side here. And you're just working around the brim of the hat here. And it's a very, very short brim, this one. So there we go. So let's do a little bit more actually inside the hat. Okay. I'm just being careful not to stab too much on the label that's in here. I'm going to have to take it out, I think, and give it a good wash, but it's in a little bit of a state. So before I go any further, I'd normally give it a brush now, but given the state of the headband in there, I'm actually going to give that a wipe over first, I think. Let's put some of this cleaner on a nice clean area of the cloth. And this is just normal, regular leather cleaner, which I use in the car, and I use it for doing my hats. Oh my goodness. I'll show you this in just a second. Oh, can you see that? That's a lot of dirt that's coming off there, or body fluids, whatever you want to call it. But it's been on there for years, no doubt, and just hasn't been wiped over. And this is one of the things that, when owning hats, you really need to look after them. And the saving grace of a Lock&Co hat is that they do use first-class materials. So you're not going to get too much of a problem with your hat band in terms of it drying out or being a problem, unless you put it near heat, of course. And you know, this hat band is 40 odd years old, and it's actually coming up quite nicely. Yeah, I mean, look at that. Yeah, it's a there's a lot of dirt on there. So put some more on, and I will put some more steam on there in a minute as well. Now, don't worry too much if you get it over the felt, because it'll all dry out anyway, and it'll all be absolutely fine. Right, now that's a huge amount of dirt that's come off there. In fact, some of it is probably to do with the finish on the leather coming off as well. Maybe because it's been broken down by the actual fluids that have been on the hat itself. But all in all, it's not too bad. I shall give it a bit of steam and rub that down further later on. So let's try and give it a bit more steam, see what happens. Let's try and get that over the top here again. And it's beginning to stretch a bit. And some of you will know about these things. Now, these things are used in hat making. And what you do is, when you're making a hat from scratch, is you put it around the edge like that and stretch down, because it helps you grip the actual hat cap, raw material, and push it down on the hat band. And then what you do is you put the hat cord around there and you push it down using something not dissimilar to this little thing, to actually push down on here the cord and make the difference between the crown and the brim at a nice sort of 90-degree angle. Given that this is such a small brim here, that's why I wanted to use this rather. My hands are very big, and they'll just, you know, not be able to get grips. So let's keep doing this. But what I'm trying to do is to actually stretch this down so that I can eventually put the iron on the hat. Now, give myself a bit of stability. I'm going to take this off of there, move that over, and stick it on the board. Now, I've got a number of these boards. They're 18mm ply boards, and I use them as work surfaces for individual hats, and I can just lift up the whole surface and move it away and put another one there. It's a good sort of working practice, if you like. Get rid of that tape for now. So here we go. Okay. This is good. It's getting a really good grip. This is to put it down. Okay, so So that's coming up into a really good sort of crown and finish. There's a bit of a, I'm not sure whether it's a mark or something on the top here, but what I'll do is I'll get some sandpaper, and some of you have probably seen me do this before, and I'm sorry about the state of my cupboards here, but I've got a sandpaper that's about 3,000 grit, and what I use it for is to get a bit like an eraser and get off any of the nasty sort of dirty bits on a hat. And all I'm doing is I'm actually just wiping it around like that. And 3,000 might be a bit fine for this at the moment, but it is, probably won't be able to see that on the camera, but there is some coming off, and it is doing its job. So that's very good. So let's have a look on this front bit and see if that will make a difference. I might have to get I'll get the 1500 grit out and the big guns, as we call it. Be very careful when you go to a different level on something like this, because what we don't want to do is damage the hat at all. So this is going to start taking off a layer of felt, and yep, I can see that now. It's coming off, and what that does is it'll bring the hat up to feel very much like new, giving it a new piece of life. So around the front here, where we've got this little bit of staining, which is probably where, you know, when the people pick up their hats, they pick them up by the pinch here. And of course, in doing that, you take your body fluids from your hands and the dirt from your hands and you put them on your hat. How you should put on a hat is holding the two sides and just pop it on like this. And when you take it off, again, on the sides, not on the center. So let's just give that a quick wipe round. Have I got I've got a dry cloth here. It's not that clean, but it's dry. So that is now, that's more or less got rid of the mark at the front here. I'll just work that a bit more. There we go. Yeah. Now, I don't know whether you can see the fluff that's coming off of here, but there certainly is a little bit of fluff being created. So now what we're going to do is go down to the grip and do the same on the brim. Just a quick wipe round, and you're always going anti-clockwise and wiping around like that. Okay, so we're not going to go too far and too mad. And then what we're going to do is take a brush, the stiff side of the two brushes here, and give it a good brushing over. So again, what we're doing is we're going round the hat. We're going round anti-clockwise. Now, yeah, that's good. This is sort of getting a lot of the dust and dirt and the 40-year-old felt that's been on the hat is now beginning to come off. Now, that's coming together quite nicely. Will it come off the block? Well, let's see, because it might be struggling a bit there to get it off the block. No, it's coming. There we go. And now you may be able to see from here that I did have some staining here and it's gone. So now I'm going to go underneath and on the brim here, give it a wipe round with the sandpaper. So just very carefully, just wipe it around, and it will take some of the surface off, which will clean up the hat. I mean, look at all the dust and the crud that's coming out of there now. So yeah, there we are. Goodness me, I'm getting covered in this. There we are. Well, you know what? Probably should be wearing a mask doing this. But goodness me. Now, what I'm going to do next is put some steam on this and see what happens, because okay, so we know that that's the back and that's the front. So let's try and give it some shape. So I've gone down and just put a central crease in it at the moment, which I can then open up to a teardrop, just like that. And now I want to try and put a much more sort of pronounced front in the hat if I can. And then it's beginning to come back. I don't know whether you can see that, but I need to put some more definition in it. Let's have a look. So let's give it a bit more definition down here and here. There we go. And what we then need to do is put in the teardrop, put it on the block if we can, and put it through to give it a bit of definition in that teardrop. So that's coming, but the hat might need a little bit of a stretch actually, because of the way that it's sitting, but yeah, okay. Okay, so that's getting a better teardrop in there than it had before. Just trying to get the definition of the two indentations at the front there, which I think I've got them not too bad at the moment. That one's a bit deep down, so that's looking better. So this one would have been a front down Trilby. So even if you put it up, it's not going to look right. It's a real brim down Trilby, this one, and I think that's come back an awful lot better than it was earlier on. So I've had a look further at the hat and decided that having measured it with my trusty measuring tool, it came up at just over 6 7/8 when it's supposed to be 7 1/4. So it clearly has shrunk quite a bit. So what I've done is put a good dose of steam and put it on the hat stretcher. So this is, if you see another one of my videos, it's talking about the different types of hat stretchers. So this is the big one. This is the one that you'll see in the professional in professional use in hat shops. So it's been on there. I've given it a couple of bits of steam, and I've actually left it to cool down, and it's actually cooled down quite a lot right now. So let's see. Usually I'd leave this overnight and probably get a much better result. But let's have a look and see what's come up now. So there you can see we're starting to get a much better shape inside the hats, and there's no major marks around the outside that aren't a problem from the hat stretcher. So let's see. So with the measurer, you just put it inside the hat and you squeeze it like you would a pair of scissors, and so that's now coming up to 7 1/8. It's just under 7 1/8, if you can see that, and I don't know whether you can or not, but so the actual size that it says on the label is actually 7 1/8. We're almost back to its original size. So that was a good stretch. Now what I'm going to do is to try and get it back with the actual shape, which was the teardrop in the crown here. So we're pulling that back in. I haven't got any steam back on this yet, so let's put a bit of steam on there. Let's see what we can do in terms of actually put a centre crease down it first of all, and then widen it out at one end. There we go. And it's starting to go back in, but it needs a little bit of help. So I want it to be a bit higher at the front, really. So let's try and ease it up a little bit. You can see what I'm doing here, but I'll try and bring that front up a tad. Yeah, that's more like it. And then I need to give it some definition down these two areas. So let's try and do that next. Okay, so let's just pinch the side down on both sides. There we are. That's going back in quite well, and you can probably see that there. So now a little bit of definition on the sides here, but I need to bring that up still a bit there. Give it a bit more of a pinch down the front here, and it's not going quite to plan at the moment, but let's see if we can give it a bit more shape on the stretcher here on the top, and that's all right. That's all right. Okay. So this is looking as though it wants a bit of a tighter pinch, but I don't actually think it would suit that much of a tight pinch. So I'm going to try and bring it out and bring out these indentations a little bit at the front here. That's better. So now we're beginning to get some nice shape in here. I'm going to put a bit more steam on and see if it will steam. There we are. That's now on the top there nicely. Yeah, nice shape. If you can see that teardrop shape there, and then the front is coming together a lot better, and I think just needs to settle down a little bit, and then let's do the brim. The back's actually sitting quite nicely. It's just the front here. So I do that, and I normally roll it on the. Oh, you can't see it. Can you? Roll it on the edge of the board, and it helps give a flatter line. But I'll just tap it between the fingers for the time being and see what we can do. So there we go. I think much better looking hat now. It's back to its size that it would have come out of the factory, the handmade shop, and it's almost ready to be worn. There's one last thing that you could always consider doing on these hats, which I do quite a lot on the older ones, and that's actually stiffen them up a bit. And I do that with this household starch. So it really is quite straightforward. You take the starch bottle, give it a good old shaking, as you can see there, and then you just spray away and give it a good covering. Now, don't be too worried about being too liberal with this, because it's absolutely fine. And it smells gorgeous, as you can imagine, like fresh ironing, because that's where, of course, you or your partner might use it for doing the ironing. So I'll now leave that for about 10 minutes or so. Oh goodness, this is the problem when you're doing hats and you're spraying it, is that it goes everywhere, and I forgot to put something down to stop that. So my fault. I'm going to have to deal with that. If you've got a passion for hats, keep watching the channel. Thank you very much. Cheers. Bye.